Assalamu alaikum dear students. Today we are going to discuss about pronoun reference. First of all, we'll discuss what is a pronoun. A pronoun is a word that takes the place of a noun in a sentence. Common pronouns in the English language include he, she, it, they, we, you, I, that, this, who, and which. Using pronouns adds some variety to a sentence. It means a writer need not repeat the same noun over and over. However, using pronouns properly means making clear to what the pronoun refers. The noun that a pronoun refers to in a sentence is called the pronoun's antecedent. So, first of all, we'll discuss unclear antecedent. In the following sentence, locate the antecedent of the pronouns. The counselor was speaking to Dave and he looked unhappy. Now, who looked unhappy in this sentence? The counselor or the Dave? The reader can't tell. In the following sentence, did the janitors clean the girls' or locker rooms? So now look at the sentence. The counselor was speaking to Dave and he looked unhappy. Now the second sentence is, but the question is that who looked unhappy in this sentence? The counselor or the Dave? The next sentence is the reader can't tell. Did the janitors clean the girls or the locker rooms? So now after the girls left the locker rooms, the janitor cleaned them. So in the second example, your common sense tells you the janitors cleaned the locker rooms and did not clean the girls. So sometimes you can count on context or common sense to help figure out which pronoun goes with which antecedent. But you shouldn't have to. What about in the first sentence? No clue exists to whether the counselor or Dave looked unhappy. These are examples of ambiguous pronoun references which will confuse and frustrate readers. So basically these are the things that we have to look that how to deal with these types of sentences. Dear students, you can solve the problem in various ways, including changing the sentence structure or eliminating the pronoun as in the following sentences. Now look at the example. The counselor was speaking to Dave, who looked unhappy. Okay. After the girls left, the janitors cleaned the locker room. Now you have to read your sentences carefully to make sure that all pronouns reference are clear. Now the sense is very clear that counselor was speaking to Dave, who looked unhappy. Okay. After the girls left the room, so the janitors cleaned the locker rooms. So now the sense is very clear. So now we will discuss about indefinite antecedents. More subtle errors occur when you use a pronoun reference that is too general or indefinite, or one that only you know. So I told Uncle Richard, Aunt Gretchen, and then Dad, which infuriated Gary. So did telling all three people infuriate Gary, or was in only telling Dad? Rewrite the sentence to make your meaning clear to the reader. So first I told Uncle Richard and Aunt Gretchen. Then I told Dad, which infuriated Gray. So or my telling Uncle Richard, Aunt Gretchen, and then Dad in infuriated gray. So gray. So these are the things that how you have to deal with the indefinite antecedent. So in general, pronouns should always appear as close to their antecedent as possible and should refer only to a single antecedent to minimize confusion. So for example, we removed all the glassware from the kitchen and cleaned it. So now multiple antecedents. Did you clean the glassware or the kitchen? So now look at the clear example. We removed and cleaned all the glassware in the kitchen. Now the sense is very clear. So these are the things that we have to avoid. In general, pronouns should always appear as to close their antecedent as possible and should refer only a single antecedent to minimize confusion. Obviously, when you have to minimize the confusion, you have to deal with these things. So another example is here. Mike told Jim that he was mistaken. Now there is unclear and multiple antecedents are being used. Mike told Jim that he was mistaken. So now look at that. Clear sense is that Mike told Jim, I am mistaken. Now the sense is very clear between these two sentences that Mike told Jim that he was mistaken. Okay. So now the sense is not clear that either who is guilty there. Now who was mistaken there, Mike or Jim? But in the next sentence, dear students, sense is very clear that Mike told Jim, I am mistaken. So now the sense is very clear that Mike told Jim, I am mistaken. Pronouns must agree in number. For example, singular or plural, and in person, first person, third person, etc. with their antecedent. Obviously, dear students, we have discussed in the last lecture about first person, second person and third person. So now the thing is very important. We are going to discuss here singular or plural. So first example is there. If a student fails a course, they must take the course again. Now pronoun they does not agree in number with the antecedent student. So now look at the correct example. If a student fails a course, he or she must take the course again. So now this is very clear sense between these two sentences, as I have discussed earlier, that if a student fails a course, they must take the course again. Now obviously they is very, you can say, how many students are there? So in the second sentence, if a student fails a course, he or she must take the course again. So now look at the another example. Once someone fails a course more than once, you are placed on academic probation. Pronoun you does not match antecedent someone in person. So now look at the correct one. Once someone fails a course more than once, he or she is placed on academic probation. So now the sense is very clear. Obviously we are dealing with the pronouns, we are dealing with the plural, we are dealing with the singular, and we are dealing as well as first person, second person, third person. So these are the things which should be clear for antecedent and indefinite antecedent and definite antecedent. So a pronoun that does not specifically refer to a noun or other pronoun can confuse the reader. So this is the thing, that if the antecedent for a pronoun is implied but not made explicit, the reader is left to guess at the antecedent. This sort of broad reference is more typical with pronouns like that, this, it and which, when they are used to refer to an idea or concept expressed in previous paragraph, clause or sentence. As earlier we have discussed these things, but now we will discuss some example here. Sally and Bill made repeated visit to the writing center and always started written assignments early, resulting in improved grades by the end of this semester. This was soon copied by other students. Now pronoun, this has no clear antecedent. So now look at the correct one and clearer one. Sally and Bill made repeated visits to the writing center and always started written assignments early, resulting in improved grades by the end of the semester. This strategy was soon copied by other students. Now the sense is very clear, but we have to see the clearest one now. Sally and Bill made repeated visit to the writing center and always started written assignments early, resulting in improved grades by the end of the semester. Making efforts to improve writing skills was a strategy soon copied by the other students. Now the thing is are very clear. In the upper mentioned example, we have discussed that pronoun has no clear antecedent in this example, in the first example, but the second example is clearer one, and the third one is clearest is here. So the pronouns it, they and you, while used rather indefinitely in everyday speech and informal situation, should not be used in this way for academic and formal writing. So now look at the example. First of all, we'll discuss for informal, then we'll see the formal one. So in France, they eat a large meal at noon. Okay, but the informal one is saying something else. Many people in France eat a large meal at noon. Now look at the example number 1, that in France they eat a large meal at noon. Who eat? No one is there, na? But you can say not clear one, na? But in the second example you are saying that many people. So now the sense is very clear that many people in France eat a large meal at noon. So now look at another example. In the 80s, you had to have ample provisions to survive a Canadian winter. So now this is informal. In the second example, in the 80s, a person had to have ample provisions to survive a Canadian winter. So now this is the thing that we are using in the first, that you had to have ample provisions, but in the second one we are saying that a person had to have ample provisions. This is the thing that how you have to use the informal way and formal way. So now we are going towards what is a pronoun reference, as we have discussed that pronoun. So now we are going to discuss a pronoun reference. Pronoun reference is the practice of making pronouns refer clearly to the words that they replace. A pronoun takes the place of a noun, thus the pronoun must agree with the noun it replaces in number and person. Also, it must be clear with which noun the pronoun is substituting for. The noun that the pronoun is the substitute for is the called antecedent. This is, we have discussed antecedent earlier. So now pronoun reference rules. We'll discuss the rules here. That how many rules are being discussed here. Pronouns are words that stand in for a noun in a sentence. Whenever pronouns are used, it should be unmistakably clear which noun the pronoun is standing in for. A faulty pronoun reference will result in a muddled sentence and a confused reader. So now a person is like an actor, her double on a movie set. It is a simplified variant of the noun it is standing in for. So now a pronoun is like an actor's double on a movie set. Obviously, actor used to change his or her character within a move, within a scene by scene. So now this is very comparable example here. The mother called the daughter. Okay, number one example is the mother called the daughter, and the second example is the mother called her. So now her is a pronoun representing the daughter in a simple construction that causes no confusion. So consider this more complex sentence. However, incorrect is that the mother called the daughter back to clean up her mess. So now first example is that the mother called the daughter. The second is the mother called her. So now the third one is the mother called the daughter back to clean up her mess. So now did the daughter forget to do her dishes? Was the mother a slob who thought her daughter should clean up after her? Which person does the pronoun her refer to? This faulty pronoun refer can be easily corrected. So now look at the correct one. When the daughter made a mess, the mother called her back to clean it up. So now this is the very clear sense that when the daughter made a mess, the mother called her back to clean it up. So in the first example and second and now third, that why mother was calling. Now the sense is very clear. When the daughter made a mess, the mother called her back to clean it up. Even with two pronouns, the references in this sentence are clear. Here is another example of faulty pronouns reference. So incorrect one is separate Daniel and Alexander and then give him a detention for fighting. Now separate Daniel and Alexander. Now there are two persons are going to be discussed here, but next he is saying that give him a detention. So now you are using plural pronouns, but you are in the next way you are saying him. So this is not clear one. Here it is unclear to whom the pronoun him refers. Who is to be punished for fighting? Using the original noun will clarify things for the reader. So now look at the correct one. Separate Daniel and Alexander and then give Daniel a detention for fighting. Obviously, now look at the correct one, that poor Daniel, he appears to be the guilty party in this encounter, but at least the sentence is clear. So now this is the sense that we are discussing here, that how you have to deal with the pronoun references. These are the rule. So now we are going to discuss the basic rule for pronoun references. There are rules. Number one rule is a pronoun must agree in number with the noun it refers to. Obviously we have discussed with the number, obviously with the plural, singular. So with the number first person, second person, third person. If the noun is singular, then the pronoun must be singular. Incorrect one is here. Everyone is studying hard for their exam. Okay, so correct one is everyone is studying hard for his or her exam. So all of the students are studying hard for their exam. These two sentences are having very clear sense. Instead of incorrect one, everyone is studying hard for their exam. You are using everyone, then you are using their. What is this? But in the second and third sentence, sense is very clear. Everyone is studying hard for his or her exams. So now look at the third sentence. All of the students are studying hard for their exams. The second rule is a pronoun must agree in person with the noun it refers to. So obviously with the person you have, a pronoun should be agreed. Be consistent with the first person, second person and third person. Now look at the incorrect one first. If a student studies hard, you should succeed. Now look at the correct one. If a student studies hard, he or she should succeed. So this is the sense that we are discussing here, that how you have to deal with the senses, that when you are using the first person, second person, third person, that how you have to deal with them. So now the third one is there should be only a possible antecedent for a singular pronoun. As earlier we have discussed the possible antecedent and definite or indefinite antecedent. So only the noun that the pronoun refers to should come before the pronoun. Okay, now look at the incorrect one. Ali and Muhammad walked to his English class. So now look at the correct one. Ali and Muhammad walked to Nagwan's English class. Okay. Uh, Ali walked to his English class and Muhammad accompanied him. So these are the things that which are very clear. In the incorrect one, that Ali and Muhammad walked to his English class. So this is not a clear one, sense that Ali and Muhammad are two are here, but he is using his there in the next part of the sentence. This is very ambiguous and wrong one, but the correct one is saying Ali walked to his English class and Muhammad accompanied him. Now the sense is very clear that Ali is going to class and Muhammad is also there with him. So there must be an explicit antecedent. Do not make the reader guess what the antecedent is. So now look at the incorrect one. In the study, they state that writing skills are important. Okay. The correct one is that in the study, the researchers state that writing skills are important. So the first one is in the study, they state that writing skills are important, but the second one is saying in the study, the researcher, obviously who is saying, this is the sense that made the sentence very clear that the researcher are saying that writing skills are important. Okay, rule number 5 is a pronoun should not refer to the possessive noun. When a noun is possessive, it functions as an adjective and so can't be replaced with the pronoun. Okay, incorrect one is in the professor's comment, she was very encouraging. Okay, correct one is the professor's comment were very encouraging. Okay, the third one is the professor was very encouraging in her comment. So these are the things that we are discussing here in the lecture. So number 6 is it must be used consistently. If you use it refer to one noun in a sentence, do not use it again to refer to another noun in the same sentence or as an idiom. So now look at the example. When it is busy, I hope to get a lot of sleep as it will help me work hard. Okay, correct one is when it is busy, I hope to get a lot of sleep which will help me work hard. So now look at the which, that and this. This is the rule that how we have to deal with these things, because these pronouns can refer to entire sentence and paragraphs as well as single nouns. They must be used precisely. So now look at the example. My professor accused me of plagiarism. This was unethical. Okay, problem is there, which was unethical, the accusation or the author's plagiarism. So now look at the correct one. My professor's accusation of plagiarism was unethical. So now this is the thing that making the clear sense of a sentence, that in the first example and then the second example, then comparing the third example is very clear one, and the sense is very clear that my professor's accusation of plagiarism was unethical. So now look at the who, which and that. The pronoun who is used to refer to people and animals that have names. So the pronoun which is used to refer the things and the animals that do not have names. The pronoun that is used to refer to things, animals that do not have names, and rarely collective or anonymous people. Avoid mixing up these pronouns. Incorrect one is a student that studies hard will succeed. Okay, correct one is saying that a student who studies hard will succeed. Now using the who is making the sense clear. As earlier we have discussed, who is used to refer the people and animals that have names. So which is used to refer the things and animals that do not have names. So that is used to refer the things, animals that do not have names, and rarely collectively or anonymous people. These are the things that you have to be very careful for using in a sentence, in an idiom, in a things that you do not have to mix these things or these pronouns. Okay, dear students, this is very compulsory and important for all of you, that you have to focus these things, that how you have to deal with the who, how you have to deal with the which, and how you have to deal with the that. These are the portion that how you have to use these three items. So now we are going to discuss that how you have to make the pronouns reference very clear. Pronouns substitute for nouns. The word a pronoun refers to is called its antecedent. A pronoun should refer clearly to its antecedent. Okay. A pronoun's reference will be unclear if it is ambiguous, implied, vague, or indefinite. So number one is ambiguous reference. An ambiguous reference occurs when the pronoun could refer to two possible antecedents. The client told James that he had to come therapy. Okay, who has to come for therapy? The client or the James? Now, the following revision eliminates the ambiguity. The client told James, you have to come to therapy. Now the sense is very clear that ambiguous reference, how you have to deal with the ambiguous reference. These are the things that will clear the pronouns reference. Number one is ambiguous reference. Number B is implied reference. So a pronoun must refer to a specific antecedent, not to a word that is implied but not present in the sentence. After braiding Anne's hair, Sue decorated them with ribbons. Okay, the pronoun them refers to Anne's braid, implied by the term braiding, but the word braids did not appear in the sentence. After braiding Anne's hair, Sue decorated the braids with ribbons. These are the things that we have to deal with the implied references. Number one was ambiguous references. Number second is implied references. Possessive cannot serve as antecedent. In Nikki's case file, she described how Miss Jones abuses substances. The pronoun she does not refer to Nikki but refers to Nikki's case file. In Nikki's case file, Nikki describes how Miss Jones abuses substances. Number third is vague references, that, this, that, and which. These we have discussed earlier that how you have to deal with the this, that, and which. The pronouns this, that, and which should not refer vaguely to earlier word groups or ideas. These pronouns should refer to specific. When a pronoun reference is too vague, replace the pronoun with the noun. More and more often, especially in large cities, we are finding ourselves victims of serious crimes. We learn to accept this with minor complaints. So more and more oftenly, especially in large cities, we are finding ourselves victims of serious crimes. We learn to accept our fate with minor complaints. The pronoun that is this is replaced by the noun fate. Or when a pronoun's reference is too vague, supply an antecedent to which the pronoun clearly refers. So, and past Patse were both too young to have acquired much wisdom, which accounts for their rash actions. Sue and Patse were both too young to have acquired much wisdom, a fact which accounts for their rash decisions. The pronoun which clearly refers to supplied antecedent fact. So fourth one is indefinite reference, they, it, and you. The pronoun they, it, and you should not refer to indefinite word groups or ideas. The pronoun they should refer to a specific antecedent. Do not use they to refer indefinitely to person to who have not been specifically mentioned. A list of ways to help a rape survivor is included with the orientation kit. For example, they suggest speaking to the survivor in calm tones. A list of ways to help a rape survivors is included with the orientation kit. For example, the St. John's Rape Crisis Center suggests speaking to the survivor in calm tones. The word it should not be used indefinitely in sentence construction. In the file report, it says that The file report points out that the pronoun you is appropriate when the writer is addressing the reader directly. So use usually in formal context, the indefinite you meaning anyone in general is inappropriate. In New Foundland, you do not have to look far to find long waiting list for counseling. In Newfoundland, one does not have to look far to find long waiting list for counseling, or you can say if the person one seem startled, the writer might recast the sentence. A new foundlers Foundlanders do not have to look far to find long waiting list for counseling. So dear student, that's all for today's. Inshallah, see you soon. Take care. Allah Hafiz.